This is Rob Tubbett for Boxing Social in association with Betfred. Delighted to be joined for the first time, might I add, by Kieran Farrell. We're here inside the bubble ahead of Benn-Formella. You've got Ben Ridings on the card. How are you, Kieran?
I'm good, mate. Good. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks. Very well. Happy to be here, as I'm sure you are, although I'm pretty sure you're probably used to the bubble environment now. You've been out very regularly.
Yeah, I'm getting used to it a bit. Yeah, it's good. I enjoy it here. It's, especially the matchroom setup. It's got that extra little bit, like they've got the games room, obviously the darts board and that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's well, I don't really have anything to compare it to. This is my first bubble, first bubble of this year. But as I said, not for you.
This is the best one, mate. This is the best one. I'm telling you, I've been to all the different ones, and this is the best one for me anyway.
Well, you said it, not me. So if anybody's watching from another bubble, blame Kieran Farrell. There we go. As I mentioned at the start of the interview, you've been out regularly with your guys. You've been sort of doing the rounds. How important is it for you this year to not sit around on your hands and grab these opportunities? Obviously, it's very, very different surroundings. 2020 has been a pain for everybody, but you've taken advantage of it.
2020 has been a pain for everyone. I want to just say a big, quick thank you to my sponsors first. Rob, Martian Group and Gary Metcalf, they've powered me to push for the opportunities for my fighters, and these opportunities only come about by a young lad who's just trying to my best to get my lads out, and that's how everything's coming about. Like Ben Ridings is here. Got a text message off Ross on Friday. I missed it. Looked at my phone on the Monday. I said, sorry mate, I missed you. He said, look, I've scrapped that idea now, but we are keen on putting a British fight on. I said, look, I've got Ben Ridings, top prospect's been sparring Callum Smiths, is free, you know. We'll fight anyone. We're not bothered. And he said, look, I've got another lad asking me, Jez Smith, who's been asking me, can you get on? I'm like, look, we'll fight Jez Smith, you know what I mean? So look, that's how this fight's come about this week. And then we had Amy Simlin a couple of weeks ago, Commonwealth title fight against Carly Skeller. We've had Ed Harrison out a couple of times, Ben Thomas out a couple of times. Yeah, I've been busy with it all.
Apart from the obvious, how difficult has this year been from a sort of logistics point of view and a planning point of view?
It's been hard to plan because, I'll be honest, I got my last show in March the 14th. We started with January the 22nd with the M22 promotions with Joe Gallagher's show with Sam Hyde and Dion Juno. Yeah, that was a good fight. Then we had a couple of weeks later, a week after that, I had Andy Reid, MBE come down, and we had like a motivational talk with all the pro boxers, which were really good. And then a week after that, we had an amateur show. Then 4 weeks after that, I had my professional show, and then I had another amateur show planned. And I was going to venues the week after March the 14th just to plan a May show. I get a May card in, and yeah, it's been hard because like we didn't think it would last all the year, and we're going into the new year, and we still don't actually know when smaller boxing's going to return. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's pretty hard.
You know, you were a fighter yourself. Having that experience, how valuable is that now when you're seeing your guys, you know, not being able to get into the ring and having that fighter's experience and being able to give them advice?
I think it's massive. I think it's massive because I'll be honest, I remember in my own career, from my third fight to my fourth fight, there was a 6-month period where I didn't box. And then from my fourth fight to my fifth fight, there was then a 9-month period where I didn't box. That through no fault of my own. It was just shows falling through, as they do, like the smaller shows. And then obviously with that sort of experience, it's good because I just tell them, look, it's about, like Eddie said it the other week. I actually said it on my brew and biscuits the first time. I said, look, fighters have got to stay ready, and it's actually a thing. If Ben Ridings wasn't ready, he wouldn't be here today, and it's come about. And Ben Ridings is not a matchroom fighter, you know what I mean, and neither's Jez Smith, you know what I mean. So like, this fight's been put on. Thank you to Matchroom for it, and they've got a massive stage now to showcase the skills.
And you didn't mishear him. That's Brew and Biscuits, which is Kieran Farrell's new YouTube show. Give it a look after you've watched this interview, of course.
Subscribe to Kieran Farrell Promotions on YouTube, guys. That's it.
More than happy to share the pie with the other YouTubers. Absolutely no problem. Ben Ridings, as you mentioned, hot prospect, unbeaten, but this is quite a sizable step up against Jez Smith, who albeit is boxing above his weight.
Yeah. That's sort of the looking behind it. Ross texted me, said, got Jez Smith, looked at it, 2 seconds it took me, I thought Jez Smith's a welterweight, and that's the way I looked at it, and I thought, you know what, we'll go in there, and Ben will give it his best, and I think his best will be good enough. I've seen him spar Callum Smith regular, and I know that he's a strong guy, you know what I mean, and it's going to take some doing for Jez Smith to beat him.
Now, you mentioned he's been sparring Callum Smith. I mean, it's difficult to get better sparring than that on these shores. Obviously about to box Canelo Alvarez, but nothing really substitutes being in the ring. He hasn't boxed in a little while. He hasn't boxed since May last year, I believe.
No.
You worried about that?
No, the ring time is valuable, but the same is that the ring time fighting journeyman and the ring time sharing a ring with Callum Smith and and Liam Smith and Marcus Morrison and Jose Burton up at Gallagher's gym, just going into that lion's den and going there sparring with the best in the world, and you fighting a journeyman that's just ring time, you know what I mean? And I don't see it being a problem. I don't see it being a problem at all. I think the experience he's had over the last 18 months sparring with them lads, and it's not just been a one-off thing, it's been a regular thing for the last 18 months, and I've seen him grow from when he was killing himself to make 11 stone 2 to now coming in at 11, 10 and 3/4 or 11, 11 3/4 today. And it was nice to see, because look at him, you've seen the shape of him, he's got a 10-pack, you know what I mean? And I know it's going to be a really nice night for him on Saturday.
What kind of character is Ben Ridings? We saw him at the press conference the other day. He's quite no-nonsense. Didn't want to get drawn into any trash talking. Yeah. What's he like?
He's not. He's a quiet guy, you know what I mean? But he's all about the business, and if you look at him, he's a really marketable lad. And that's one thing what I've always said about him. Like obviously the tattoos help him, you know what I mean? And he looks like a scary dude. He's the type of guy you wouldn't want to bump into in an alleyway, you know what I mean? But then the same is that the way he talks, he talks beautiful, you know what I mean? So he's a promoter's dream really, and he sells tickets as well, you know what I mean? So look, the big stage for him, and then I mean moving forward from there. We can't look past Jez Smith. Big fight on Saturday, but then after that, I think the future's bright for Ben Ridings.
What can you tell us about Jez Smith? Obviously, the last time we saw him in the ring was against Kieran Farrell. As we mentioned, he is customarily a welterweight. How good is Jez Smith, and what are you expecting from him on a Saturday night?
Jez Smith's a great fighter. His brother Mitchell's a top fighter, and I've always followed Mitchell's career himself. I've even seen Jez since the start. Jez was 7-0 when he boxed Macaulay McGowan. Macaulay's a Manchester lad like Macaulay, and they drew the fight, and I believe that maybe if he won that fight, he would have kicked on, you know what I mean, and he would have been fighting more so in the title fights as maybe the home fighter, you know what I mean. And then he's took the fight with Kahim Ajiko from Belfast, who's a really good fighter. I've seen him as an amateur, very good fighter, and he was out his depth there, you know what I mean. But he's not big enough to be fighting at super middleweight.
Now, as I mentioned, you've been a fighter. You now look after fighters. What's the main difference? Because, I mean, this is the first time we've really kind of sat and spoke to each other face to face, and I can feel kind of the energy and how much you love the game. What's the difference between being a fighter and looking after fighters?
I seen Eddie Earn's thing the other day with Frank Lampard, and what he said about playing football and being selfish and then looking after 50 or 25 people in a squad. It come to me, and I thought, you know what, that's exactly what I've been saying about professional boxing and the management side of things. As a boxer, I'm selfish. I'm angry all the time because I want to kill people, and I just want food because I'm always hungry, because I'm always starving. And then now I'm managing fighters. Look, I'm not a fat promoter, but I like my cake and I like my brew and my biscuits. You know what I mean? And I'm a lot more happier in myself, but looking after the fighters, look, it comes with its own problems. That, you know what I mean? You've got to manage 25. I've had 30 fighters in the past, and I don't want to go back to that because that was just too much for me. I'm looking for quality rather than quantity now. That's the way I'm going forward with it all.
Well, you keep getting your fighters on these shows, you're not going to be short of offers.
100%, mate. But look, that's what I'm saying. You just need to come and talk to Kieran Farrell Promotions, guys.
We mentioned Callum Smith, of course. He is now going to be boxing Canelo Alvarez. He got himself the golden ticket to the chocolate factory, so to speak. How do you see him getting on?
Callum Smith, I just want to say to him, like, from when we boxed on the England team together as amateurs at age 17 to see where he is now. It's just madness, and it just goes to show what a proper down-to-earth good lad can do with belief, hard work and dedication. And him and Joe Gallagher had a plan, and I don't want to say the plan on telly, but they've got on telly. I'm calling it telly on Boxing Social. But I don't want to. Look, I'll be honest. Joe's a top guy, and Joe looks after his fighters, and I know that they're going to go with the game plan. And I've been watching him spar, preparing for Canelo all year. You know what I mean?
That's an interesting point that you make there. Obviously, it's been announced and it's 4 weeks to the fight, but Callum himself, he's a gym rat. He's always in the gym. He's never away from fighting weight. So they have been preparing for Canelo Alvarez if that call comes throughout the year.
Yeah, it's all the sparring he's had. It's just everyone's had something, adding something different to the table, bringing something different to the table for Callum to work on different things. And it's like I say, it's not when the fight comes about and in 4 weeks' time and it's only been announced for 4 weeks. People don't need to understand that he hasn't trained for 4 weeks for the fight. He's trained all his life for this fight. You know what I mean? And this is a massive fight, and I really hope he can do it. You know what I mean? My fingers are crossed for him. It's a massive task, but if anyone can do it, everyone's saying Callum Smiths the one. You know what I mean? So maybe.
Now, you know Joe Gallagher very well. He is 0-1 against Eddie Reynoso and Canelo Alvarez. Obviously, Liam Smith boxed him. How much do you think Joe Gallagher wants to get that one back?
Joe wants to get that back. He wants to get that back badly. You know, Joe's the top guy. Like I say, I look and see and I've seen from even when I was boxing that he's very similar to myself. He's obsessed with the game, and that's what you've got to be. You've got to be obsessed with the game to make it in the game. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I think everybody who kind of works full-time in boxing, whether you do what you do, whether you're a fighter, whether you do what I do, you have to be a little bit crazy and you have to be very, very dedicated. Before I let you go, let's just run through some of the other fights on the card. Start from the top. Conor Benn versus Benn-Formella. Very cool, calm customer this week, the German.
Yeah, I've not seen much of Benn-Formella. I said the other day he's only lost once to Sean Porter, so it's no disgrace losing to Sean Porter. So I actually just seen a thing just before we come and done this interview then saying that if Conor Benn can win this fight in style, then he's announced himself in the world team, and that's definitely a true statement.
Well, like the heavyweight fights, it seems like Babich versus Tom Litter is kind of, I have to say this very quietly, it's kind of the unofficial chief support. I have to say it quietly because Fabio Wardley's over there and he thinks he's chief support, but don't worry about him. Well, what do you think about that fight, Babich versus Tom Little? Tom's in some shape.
I've not seen much of Tom Little. But yeah, I like Babich. He's a top guy. You know what I mean? We had a game of darts the other day. I did beat him. You know what I mean? So, but I like Babich. But it'd be nice to see see him in a fourth round or a fifth round. We're not seeing that yet. You know what I mean? So that's a question mark above his head. Whether it can, because the way he goes out, he's like a man on a mission. You know what I mean? So like, can he do that in the fourth and the fifth round? We don't know yet. You know what I mean?
He throws the kitchen sink, the fridge, all the utensils, the plates, the bowls, everything in the first round, does Babich. Mentioned Fabio Wardley's over there. We have to keep it down. There he is, jumping up and down. Yeah. He's boxing Richard Latte. Obviously, we saw Richard Latte against Daniel Dubois. We saw him against Nathan Gorman a few weeks ago. Good test for Fabio Wardley.
100%. And his trainer, Robert, he's picked this fight for him, you know what I mean? He got offered another fight, he got offered the Lucas Brown fight, but he wanted this fight, you know what I mean? So fair play to him, and look, this is a proper fight, you know what I mean? And Fabian Wardley's done really good with his whole career. Like, you look at it from where he's come from, he's done really good, and I think he'll get the win.
Okay, Kieran, well, this has been a real pleasure catching up with you for the first time. I do hope it's not going to be the last. Fighters, if you're watching, you need a manager who's going to get you these opportunities in 2020 when there's not many. Look no further.
Kieran Farrell, BEF.
One more time, give us a little look at your sponsor on your hat. Drop it down. It's Mawson Group. Tell them how to follow them, what they do.
Mawson Group and 11 Group, guys. They're the biggest out there. That's it. Just you just Google them. They're massive, you know what I mean?
Kieran Farrell, thanks very much for speaking to Boxing Social, and best of luck for Ben Ridings tomorrow night.
Cheers.